Hello everyone. Welcome in, welcome in. Just cleaning up my hand. It's been getting a little bit dusty here lately. Been doing a lot of work with this trainer hand, so just got to clean it up a little bit and get her all ready to go here. Give everybody a minute to get those notifications, get that text message, and then we'll get started in just a couple minutes. Hopefully everybody's having a wonderful day. It's looking a little bit gray out where I'm at, and I'm assuming we've got lots of people from California, so hopefully everybody in California is staying safe. So hopefully everybody's doing well. But welcome in, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. On Twitch yesterday, I think that was yesterday, I asked for some ideas and some things that you guys are wanting to see. So I'm kind of taking today's demo from some suggestions from our Twitch live stream. So you guys, if you haven't joined us on Twitch, make sure you join us on Twitch, make sure you join us on Discord, make sure you join us on TikTok. You guys, we've got so many different social media platforms for you to be a part of our community. So make sure that you aren't missing out on all of the good information and education and insight to doing nails and just some fun stuff. So make sure to join us on all of our platforms. But I'm glad that you guys are here with me today on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. So let's go ahead and get started. So again, I kind of briefly said that it's a little chilly and kind of gray out where I'm at. So today we're gonna kind of stick with that chilly kind of theme, and we're gonna do another kind of an icy winter design. Now I know we did a winter design and kind of that cracked ice look. I think that was last week, but we did that in gel. And today I'm gonna be working with, again, by request, some of our slick pour colors. And we're also gonna be throwing in some stamps later on today. But for today, our basic things that we're gonna be using, I'm gonna kind of go through and show you guys. That way, if you wanna work along with me, you can kind of start to gather up your products. And you guys, on our Discord channel, we always post up what I'm gonna be using. So I'll always let you know ahead of time what I'm gonna be using. So you can always go to our Discord and you can find all the colors, find out what we're gonna be working with. And again, if you wanna work along with me, you can gather your products ahead of time. But if you didn't jump over to Discord today, I'll tell you just really quick, we're going to be using acrylic today. We're going to be using our traditional product. We're not going to be using the extreme low odor, just the traditional. So we've got our speed clear, which is going to be kind of the main part of our nail today. And then for our color and our design, we're going to be using our core white, which is our slower setting product. So we've got speed, which is our faster setting, and then our core, which is our slower setting. Both are going to give you a really good structure to the nail and a nice durable set to the nail, or a nice durable structure to the nail. But the speed is just a little faster setting and the core is a little bit slower setting. And then the colors we're going to be using are from our Slick Pour collection. And you guys, Slick Pour is technically our dip system, but they are basically ultra fine acrylic powders. So that's what we're going to be using for our color today. And the colors that I've got today are Ice Clink. I thought that sounded good for a kind of a cold, chilly design today. So we've got Ice Clink, we've got Mini Man, we've also got, oops, a little nail piece there, Free Fall. And a really fun sparkly one that we've got today is Star Vapor. So those are going to be the basic colors that we're going to be using for our design. And then I'm also going to be throwing in a little bit of an extra stamp over the top. Now, some of you had mentioned that you were looking for different ideas with our stamping plates that we've got out. And so I'm going to give you kind of a little bit of an extra idea on how to use these and on top of our design. So if you do the design, you can add the stamping to it, or you can just leave it as it is, however you like to finish your nail. So let's go ahead and start just by prepping our nail. Let me grab our trainer hand here. And again, you guys, this is Young Nails. All of the products that I'm using here are from Young Nails. Everything that I'm using can be found on our website, youngnails.com. And I'm just searching for my magic wand. I lost that for a second. All right. So I'm going to use our magic wand. This is our cuticle tool. And I'm just going to go through, push back those cuticles gently, And I always tell you guys, if you're working on a trainer hand or on a real person, still go through those steps and practice pushing back the cuticles. I know that you're not really going to be actually pushing cuticles on the trainer hand, but it still sets you up for success, because what you train and what you practice doing on the trainer hands is what you're going to remember to do on a real person. So if you skip the step of pushing back the cuticles on your trainer hand, chances are you're going to forget to do that on a real person. So always practice everything that you're going to do on a real person, do that on your trainer hand. Now I'm going to take our sanding band. So this is an old sanding band, and I always like to let you guys know, always start with a fresh sanding band. Whether you're working on yourself, whether you're working on clients especially, you always want to make sure that you're using a clean sanding band, a brand new sanding band. These are not disinfectable. They will kind of fall apart if you wash them or try to soak them in disinfectant. So always make sure that you are using a brand new one. And like I said, even if you're working on yourself, still grab a brand new one, because you can see, again, this was the old one, you can see how worn down that old one is just by doing one set of nails. So you always want that good amount of grit on your sanding band. So that's why I always say make sure to change that out. Now I'm trying to get this sanding band all the way on. You can see there's a little bit of a gap there. I'm just going to turn my handpiece around. I'm going to hold on to the whole handpiece and just press that right down on there. Now, always make sure that your bit itself is as far into that handpiece as you can get, so that you're not starting with the bit out here and then pressing down that top part and then sliding that bit down in there forcefully. So always make sure that that bit is all the way in, and then you can press that sanding band all the way down there. Okay? All right, let me grab our hand here, and I'm going to work with an overhand grip. So you can kind of see how I'm holding that finger. I'm holding with kind of pinching my thumb and my pointer finger around that sidewall, down along those sidewalls, around that cuticle, just to really kind of pull that skin back down on the sides. And you guys, this really helps. Let me show you here. So if you're working on a real person, by holding with that overhand grip, you're actually going to be able to pull those sidewalls back. And that way, let me show you on this one, because especially on this nail, I've got a really tight C-curve to my nail. If I don't pull those sidewalls down, if I don't really kind of come in there and pinch those sidewalls down, sometimes my skin kind of puckers up around and I'm not able to get all the way down along that edge. So that's one of the reasons that I like this overhand grip, is because you can really pull those sidewalls away and really have access all the way down into those deep curved sidewalls. So anybody that has those deep curves, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But again, holding from that overhand grip is going to help you with those sides, getting that skin away from the cuticle, getting away from the sides. But it's also going to help you keep your hand and your wrist in a little bit of a more comfortable position. If I were to be holding my client's hand like this and having my wrist bent for however many clients I'm taking a day, that's going to start to kind of wear on your wrist and on your palm and your hand. So that's the reason why that we hold with that overhand grip, so you can keep that wrist nice and straight and comfortable. Okay? Okay, here we go. Let's come in here. Let's go ahead and get started on our prep. Those of you that are just joining us, you just missed a little bit. You haven't missed any of the application or anything so far, just a little bit of explanation. So I'm glad that you were able to join us. And you guys, if you are new to our channel, make sure you subscribe, make sure you set your notifications so that you always know when we are going to go live, because we give so much free education. You guys, you don't want to be missing this free education. So make sure you subscribe to our channel. So all I'm doing here is just coming up around that cuticle, removing that shine, and then I'm just going to gently feather my bit. So I'm just kind of working my bit kind of in a back and forth motion. And just, if I slow this down, this is what I'm actually doing. So coming across that nail from one direction all the way through, all the way down the length of that nail. Now, the more you practice, the faster you're going to be able to go. So you're going to be able to go in more of that quick feathering motion all the way down the length of the nail. Okay, let me just show you that one more time. When you are prepping, it really should be a quick kind of a step. It's not something where we are going to spend a ton of time. You shouldn't have to spend a lot of time doing this, okay? Do you see how quickly that went? How easy I'm prepping these nails? I don't have to spend a ton of time. I don't have to really make sure to kind of go slow or precise or anything like that. With that feathering motion, you're going to be able to catch all of those different areas on that nail and make sure that it is nice and clean and remove that shine. Okay. I think maybe somebody might be asking in the chat, what trainer hand am I using? Again, you guys, everything that I'm using, even the trainer hand, is a Young Nails product, okay? So check out youngnails.com. I think we've got our website pinned on there for you guys, so check that out if you're looking for any of these products. But don't go anywhere just yet. Stick around for all the free education here. Let's see, and somebody's also asking what grit of a sanding band. The sanding band that I'm using is a medium grit. It is about the same, it's about a 150 grit, about the same as what our hand files are. So 150 grit, and I do have my speed turned to about 5,000 RPMs on my e-file. We'll dust off that nail, get all of that dust cleaned off there. Give us a nice clean surface, making sure I'm even kind of coming underneath that nail just to make sure that I don't have any little frayed edges of that nail under there, which I do. So I want to just clean that up just a little bit. And you guys, I'm not taking a whole lot of time to really shape that free edge. I don't need to because we're going to put a form on there. I just want to make sure that I don't have little edges of that nail kind of frayed that's going to interfere with me putting my form on. Okay. Next thing we're going to use is our swipe. Let me come back out here for you. So swipe is our nail cleanser, and I'm going to open this up and pump a little bit of that, unlock my bottle there, pump a little bit of that onto my manicure brush, and this way I can go through and I can really scrub and get that nail nice and clean. Okay. What swipe is going to do is it's actually going to pull out any of those extra oils that are on the surface of the nail. So you're going to be able to start to see once the swipe starts to dry, just like it's doing now, you're going to start to see that nail go back to that dry, chalky look. That's going to show you that the nail surface is nice and clean. There's no extra oils that are going to interfere with our adhesion. And it's also going to take care of any germs or bacteria that are on that nail. So now we've got a nice, clean, dry surface that we can apply our product to. Whether we're working with acrylics, hard gels, gel polish, you still want to make sure that you have that really good, clean, dry surface. Okay. Next thing we're going to use is our protein bond, and protein bond is our bonder. So we're not going to use a traditional primer. Primers tend to have methacrylic acid to them, and that acid tends to, if you do accidentally get that onto the skin, that could burn or itch or irritate the skin. So with our protein bond, we have non-acid adhesion. So there's none of that methacrylic acid that you have to worry about. What protein bond does is, now you guys can see there's a nice clean dry surface to this nail, but once we put that protein bond on, that's going to give us a sticky surface. And that sticky surface is really what we want for adhering our acrylics, our hard gels, our gel polishes, because that sticky surface is going to work like an anchor, and it's going to anchor our enhancement onto that nail. Okay. And somebody's asking why not primer, and this is exactly why. We don't need to use an acid-based primer. Again, some of those primers that have that acid to them, that can cause irritation if you over apply, if you get that product on the skin and things like that. So we use our protein bond, which again works like a double-sided tape or an anchor, however you kind of want to describe it. But it does work to really anchor that onto the nail. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get our form. And I'm going to grab, we'll just go with one of our standard blue forms today, just kind of our traditional forms. And I've had a lot of requests for square nails, so we're going to do a square nail today. Now I'm going to take that little tab out of the form, put that right on the back, stick that down there. That's going to give our form a little bit more kind of a firm feeling, so it's not so flimsy feeling. And we are going to take these two little silver tabs right here at the ends. We're going to pinch just those two tabs together, and I want to make sure that I'm getting those as even together as I can. Now, because we're doing a square nail, I want you guys to see this. This is important. So I want you to see on the end of that form, I'm going to leave that form open. Okay, let me come in here really quick just so you guys can really see. So I'm leaving the end of that form open. That's going to give my form a little bit more of kind of that tube shape rather than pinching that form together at the end. Let me grab another form and I'm going to show you the difference between pinching the form at the end versus not pinching all the way. So if you were going to be doing, say, a stiletto nail or a coffin-shaped nail or even an almond-shaped nail, you would pinch those two little tabs together, but then you would actually pinch the end of that form. Okay, so see how by pinching the end of that form, you're going to get a more point to that form, whereas if we just pinch just the tabs and not that whole form, you're going to get more of that square shape. So how you pinch your form is really going to be the start of how you sculpt your nail, okay? And again, today I've had requests for a more square nail, so that's what we're going to do. So we're not going to pinch that end together. We're going to leave that as more of that tube shape, okay? All right, we are going to open up. There's a little perforated edge right up top here. We're going to open that up, and I'm going to get my form right up underneath this nail. Now I'm going to come from a slight downward angle and just catch my form right up underneath that nail and then lift up on the end of my form. Do you see how as I catch that nail, you guys take a look right through here, I catch that nail, and as I lift up, that form just slides right up underneath that nail and it comes flush up under that free edge. So now if we look down the barrel of the nail, you can see there's no gaps between that nail and my form. Okay, that's exactly what we want. If we put that form on and maybe there was a little gap underneath, if we take a look from the side, if there was a gap underneath like that, product is going to seep underneath there. So we want to make sure that that form is as flush up underneath that natural nail as possible so that we get that really good application. All right, we're going to take a look at our finger here, and I'm going to readjust the camera because I want you guys to see this right straight on. You want to make sure that that form is coming straight out from the nail. Do you see how it looks like it's almost kind of angled off to the side? I want to make sure to adjust that so that that form comes straight out from that finger, okay? And actually line it up with the finger. Do you see how there's that bold line right, oops, let me come back a little bit. There's that bold line right down the center of my form. That's what I want to have straight in line with my finger. So if you take a look at how I'm lining up my orange wood stick, that form is coming straight in line with that finger, okay? A lot of times our clients, and myself included, we have crooked nails. My nail underneath here actually kind of goes off at a curve. So that's why I always want to make sure that form is lined up straight. If you line up your form with the nail and that nail curves off to the side, you're going to end up sculpting that nail and it's going to look crooked. But if you line that form up straight in line with the finger, even though that natural nail itself is curved off to the side, it's going to look straight with the rest of the nails. Okay, so always check your forms from this view, make sure that they're coming straight in line with the nail, and also extend out all of those fingers, okay? So you could even turn the hand around. Let me see if I can get a better angle here for you guys. You could even turn that client's hand around and look from this direction. So this way you would also be able to see if those nails and those forms are looking straight. If you get your form on, let me readjust this really quick and you guys can see exactly what I mean. But if you get your form on and you look from this direction, you can see that form is crooked, okay? So you want to make sure that you're really making that form straight out. Again, even if that nail itself is crooked, keep that form straight, and that's how you're going to be able to create straight nails and all the way through that whole set, okay? All right, now that I bumped my form and knocked that off of there, let's get that back on, and we will start our sculpting. All right, again, I'm going to leave that end open. I'm just going to kind of pinch that a little bit. Let me come in there. Okay, so again, kind of pinch that a little bit to keep that open on the end. But I still want to make sure that my curve underneath is nice and tight. So I think we're looking good there. Okay. Somebody's asking, is the form size the same for every finger? That is a great question. We've got some great videos on how to customize your forms. If your nails are different shapes and different sizes, you can definitely customize those forms. But here's the thing about a form versus a tip. A form is going to be much easier to customize. You can take your little tab out of the center there, and you can come through, you can cut that. So maybe if you have more of a square finger or a square free edge, you can customize that to fit under a square free edge, or maybe an extended hyponychium. You guys, I'm just really quickly showing you ways of customizing your forms, but we've got some great videos on how to do that for different shapes and sizes of nails on our YouTube channel here as well. So check those out, you guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can have access to all of those. But again, here's a quick way. If you've got a hyponychium that kind of pokes out underneath, just take a little nippers, cut out a little, just a little V shape in there. You guys, I'll show you right here. If you don't know what I mean by a hyponychium, this little skin right underneath here, right through here, my hyponychiums tend to grow out a little bit more as my nails grow out. So the longer my extensions are, the more my hyponychium will grow. And I don't want to be shoving a form up under there and poking into it. That's why I cut that little V shape, so that when I do put this form on, I'm going to just go like this so you guys can see. That little V shape is going to fit right around that hyponychium, and it's not going to poke down into it. So that way we're not going to be damaging that skin under there. It's not going to be painful or uncomfortable for our clients when we put those forms on. So again, you guys, customizing your forms is so much easier than trying to fit a tip onto every client. I always say that tips they're a great tool, but I feel like tips tend to be a one size fits most kind of a service. They're not going to fit every nail perfectly, but with a form, you can get that form flush up underneath any nail, and that's going to be your perfect customized extension for that client. Okay? All right, let's get into our application. I'm going to grab a few little table towels, and you guys, you can see the table towels that I've got here on my table are the same things as I'm going to use to wipe my brush on, but I've just cut these into smaller squares. I like to have just these smaller pieces because for me it's a little bit easier to kind of just grab one of those. If I need a clean space, I can take another piece off of there, and I always have a nice clean space to wipe my brush. So a little bit easier than trying to use these whole big table towels, but these table towels are nice to have right there on your station. So, all right, let me grab my liquid. We've got our Speed Clear, and let's see what I've got in here. You guys, I've got a little monomer in there from, I was doing kind of some trial and test out nails here, so I'm actually going to grab a couple of those little table towels, and I'm going to soak up that extra monomer. I always want to start with fresh liquid anytime I do any service, whether it's on myself or on my clients or even just on my trainer hand. I always want to start with fresh liquid because that's going to give me the best results and the best consistency with my product. So I'm just using, again, this is my magic wand, that tool that I was using earlier, just cleaning out that Dappen dish, soaking up that extra liquid, and then I will be able to start with fresh liquid. Now notice that I did use my magic wand to kind of grab that little table towel from there. I don't use my fingers. I don't want to get any of that product and chemical on my skin. I want to be doing nails for a lot longer here, you guys, and the more you come in contact with product, the more likely you are to start to develop allergic reactions and things like that. So make sure that you are avoiding contact with your product at all costs, okay? All right, I'm going to open up my liquid here, and this is just a quick, easy trick on how to pour your liquid. So instead of just pouring right down from the bottle, if you take your brush, touch your brush to the top of the bottle, and then just slowly pour. That liquid is going to go straight down that brush. Let me come in a little closer so you maybe can see a little bit easier. But again, that liquid is going to go straight down your brush into your Dappen dish, and you're not going to be spilling any product or having that leaking anywhere. So just a quick, easy way of not making a mess. And again, you guys can see now I don't have any product leaking down or dribbling down the side of my bottle. So just an easy little trick there. All right, so again, we're going to grab our Speed Clear, and we've got our nail here. Let me reposition the camera so you can see everything that I'm doing here. All right, so we've got our nail, we've got our table towels here, we've got our liquid and powder. I'm actually going to put my powder back there. All right, now you guys can see, now I can come in a little closer. All right. Oops. There's our form. Okay, so we're gonna start by sculpting out our free edge. Now when I pick up my pearl for my free edge, I'm gonna tap the back side of my brush on my Dappen dish. I'm gonna turn my brush over. I'm gonna kind of pull and press and then bounce, bounce. So we're gonna pick up, I would say, a medium-sized pearl. I'm gonna drain out that extra liquid. Now let me show you the reason that I drain out that extra liquid is because when we're working on that free edge, I want to bring my product a little bit more to a clay-like consistency rather than a wet consistency. And what I mean by that is if I were to just pick up that pearl, go into my powder, press, press, if I were to just set that product onto my form right away, do you see how quickly that product kind of melts out and it's just kind of flowing down the length of my form? If I put that onto my form, I'm going to actually kind of have to chase that around to really get that into the shape that I want. Because it's running, it's moving all over the place, I don't have as much control with it. What I'm going to do instead is, again, I'm going to pick up my pearl. Let me come back out a little. So I'm going to pick up my pearl, press, press, press. I'm going to drain that onto my table towel, drain out some of that extra liquid, and then when I set that onto my form, my pearl is going to kind of soften a little bit. So you can see it just kind of relaxes a little, but it's not completely flowing down the length. I'm not losing control of that. Now I still can come in there and mold that product and move that product where I want, but it's not running out of control. I have a lot more control over it when I do drain out that extra liquid. Now, we only want to drain out that liquid when we're working towards the free edge. We don't want to be draining that out when we get back to our cuticle area, and I'll show you guys that when we get to that point. But as we're working on our free edge, we want to make sure that we are draining out that liquid so that we get our product to a more clay-like consistency, okay? And you guys, yes, I think somebody was asking what size brush am I using? This is from Young Nails, you guys. Again, everything that I'm using here is Young Nails, everything down to my table towels. It's all Young Nails, so youngnails.com. And the brush that I'm using is a size 12. This is Greg's Signature Series brush. Greg is one of the owners of the company, and so he gets his own style brush. So that's what I'm using. It is a size 12. It is an oval, so it does have that little bit of a crimp right in through that ferrule here. So you can see, if you look at it, it's going to have enough width to apply your pearls nice and evenly, but it still has a nice tight edge and more of that oval shape to bring that brush to a nice point. So that way you can sculpt in smile lines, you can pick up large pearls, you can pick up small pearls. With this brush, this brush, you guys, is amazing. So just to kind of show you, if you need a large pearl, this brush works great. Just tap out a little bit of the liquid out of there. You can pick up a really large size pearl. So if you're sculpting those extra long nails, you can pick up that large pearl. If you are sculpting shorter nails, all you have to do is just press out a little bit more of that liquid, and you won't be picking up quite so much powder. So you can pick up those small pearls. So for whatever size and shape of nail you want to do, this brush is going to allow you to do those perfect pearls every time, okay? Okay, we've got our form on here. Let's get into our nail. Come in here, you guys. Make sure, if you're learning something today, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're enjoying our demo today, if you are new to our channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. That way you can always come back and join us again next time. But let's go ahead and pick up our pearl here for our free edge. We're going to press, bounce, bounce. I'm going to drain out that liquid on my towel. I'm going to set that pearl right in front of that natural nail. So press that down. I'm going to wipe out my brush one more time. I'm going to use the fat belly part of my brush to press out that product so it's nice and even from side to side. And then I'm going to use the edge of my brush to press that in, and then the fat part again to walk that up into that corner. So press in, walk that bulk up. Press in. Now I'm going to walk all the way from side to side. Same thing on that other side, using the edge of my brush, press that side in, walk that bulk up. It looks like I've got a little bit of a frayed bristle there that is kind of out of line, but that's okay, we'll work with it. Again, tucking in those sides, press that product all the way even from side to side. Now I'm going to start to just kind of press a little bit more of that bulk at the end. I'm going to bring that down the form a little bit more so that we can bring that a little bit longer. Now, you guys, I told you I was going to do a square nail. We might end up with a little bit more of a tapered square. I feel like a tapered square is a little bit more what the trend is these days. But I am going to bring that product down nice and thin towards the end of my form. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to spend so much time trying to create a perfect square at the end. If I make sure that my sides are good, my consistency or my product is even all the way throughout, and I still have time to turn my brush on the side and kind of press in to create that perfect square end, then I can do that. But most of the time, I'm going to clean up this end with my electric file, so I don't spend a whole lot of time trying to perfect that free edge. I do spend more time pressing and making sure that my sidewalls are nice and straight and that I've got good, even thickness all the way through that extension. Okay, so if you look, you take a look down the barrel, you can see we've got just a very thin free edge. We don't have a lot of product on there, but it is nice and even all the way through from side to side. Okay, I'm going to rinse out my brush here really quick and see if I can get that little frayed bristle back into place there. I think we're good now. So we are going to be doing a marble design over that natural nail. So anytime I put any colored acrylics or glitters or anything over my natural nail area up here, I always pick up a small pearl, just like I was showing you before. You can pick up a nice small pearl. This one I'm going to leave wet. I'm not going to drain this out. I'm going to set that right at my cuticle area, press that out around my cuticle, and then I'm just going to blend that out. So blend and wipe my brush, blend, wipe my brush. The reason that I'm doing this very, very thin, small pearl is to protect that natural nail. Because when we go in with all of our different colors and everything, we don't want that color sitting right down onto that natural nail. When we go to change out this design, we're going to clip off that free edge, we're going to file down our color from that natural nail area, and we're going to still have this little bit of clear underneath there, so when we file through the color, we're not filing all the way down to that natural nail. So again, that's why we're putting that just that very, very thin layer of clear. Again, if we look from the side, we still don't have any thickness to this nail, just that thin layer to protect that natural nail so when we change it out, okay? All right, let's grab our colors. I'm going to set my clear off to the side here. So we've got our colors, and again, we've got Free Fall, we've got Ice Clink, we've got, let's see, two more colors here. Star Vapor, which is our glitter, and Mini Man. And then you guys, I'm also using our Core White. The Core White is kind of a softer white. Let me just show you really quick. Kind of looks white in the container, but you'll see it's just a softer white. It's not a super bright white that I would normally use like maybe for your pink and white French nails. It's just a little bit softer. And you'll kind of see how this plays into our design once we get into it. Now, I am going to come in and just give my free edge a little bit of a pinch in while this layer is still kind of pliable. You guys, what we're doing, we're layering our clear, we're going to put our color on top, and then we're going to encase this whole nail with a little bit more clear so that we don't file off our design. If we were to wait and wait until our top layer is ready to pinch, this bottom layer is going to be completely set, okay? This product is going to set within about 4 minutes. So if I don't pinch in my C-curve now, at this point, if I wait till I've got all of those other layers on, this bottom layer isn't going to be, it's not going to be pliable enough to pinch in that C-curve. So if you are doing dimensional designs like this with your acrylic, come in and pinch your C-curve into that base layer first, so that way you're not going to end up with kind of that wide or a flat C-curve, okay? Andrea's asking, what does Star Vapor look like? Guys, let me just I'll do a quick little swatch of each of these colors for you so you can kind of see. And I forgot what the names of them, I forgot what the names are already, so I'll remind you at the end. But we've got kind of that softer, kind of a sky blue almost. We've got kind of another medium blue. That one I'm going to just roll off there. So a little bit of a medium blue, and then we've got a little bit more of kind of a turquoise almost. And then the Star Vapor is our glitter, so that one is just going to be a white sparkle. So those are the different colors that we're going to be using today. So just give you a little swatch there. I'm going to change out my table towel here. I will grab a fresh, clean one to wipe my brush on. And actually that Star Vapor, I do want to give that a quick mix. And sometimes with my glitter in my my powders like this, sometimes that glitter and the acrylic will actually kind of separate a little bit. So I do like to give those a good mix just to make sure that I've got even consistency all the way through. Okay. Somebody says the third one is giving Cinderella vibes. You know what? Interpret it how you will. You guys, that's kind of the fun part about doing nails, is that you're going to find inspiration everywhere. So you're going to find inspiration in somebody else's design. You're going to find inspiration all over the place. So use that inspiration and create your own designs. And make sure to tag Young Nails if you post them online. We love to see your designs. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start to kind of just marble these products onto our nail here. And actually, I think I'm going to go through and remove my form. It looks like my product is starting to set. If you hear that kind of clicking sound, that's going to tell you that your product is set. So I'm just going to remove my form. And let's just going to kind of pinch underneath that form, make sure that form completely releases. You can kind of see the form releasing here. And then again, just kind of pinching underneath and release, and then I'll take that form off. This way I can see a little bit better on how my design is going to look, okay? So all I'm going to do at this point is I'm just going to start to kind of marble these colors together. So pick up a little pearl of whatever color you want to start with, and I'm just going to kind of tap that down in there. I'm going to leave that product a little bit on the wetter side so that it does flow a little bit more, okay? When I'm marbling colors, I do want my product to flow. I don't want to just have those kind of solid edges to it. So you kind of see, I just kind of, almost like if you're working with a watercolor, just kind of painting that on a little bit. Picking up a little bit of each color. Let's go in with a little of that Star Vapor. Get that glitter in there. Kind of blend that out. And you guys, you can see I'm not even trying to make this perfectly smooth. I like a little bit of height to that pearl. I like a little bit of texture to it because that's just going to give me depth into this nail. So it's going to look like there's a little bit more depth and dimension. We always call them dimensional nails, and there's a reason for that, because there's so much depth, and you know, some colors may be a little bit higher up in the nail, some may be a little bit lower. So adding that different depth to your nail is really going to create a beautiful look. So again, just kind of taking those little wet pearls. Let's maybe add a little bit more of that glitter up top here, that Star Vapor, just kind of pressing that in. And again, you guys, the reason we had that little bit of clear underneath is to protect our nail from these colors and these glitters. Okay, so keep in mind that that's why we've got that glitter or that clear underneath. Okay, all right, let's maybe add just a little bit more, a little more blue up in here. And oh, I forgot my core white. I forgot a little bit of that white. Let's add a little bit of that white, maybe right up in here, just to kind of give it a little bit more of a smoky, marbly kind of a look. All right, you guys, what do you think? If you're liking this color, if you're liking this design, make sure to hit the subscribe button. That way we know that you're enjoying our class today. Make sure that you throw some love in the chat. I always like to see that. Make sure that you guys let me know if you're liking this. And maybe just a little bit more of that blue. I think I want just a little bit more dark right in through the center here. There we go. Again, you guys, just keeping those pearls wet, letting them kind of flow on their own. I did leave a little bit more clear just showing through here on the free edge. I feel like maybe I'm going to add just a little bit more sparkle to it. But I like to sometimes leave a little clear as part of that design, especially with this one that's looking more icy. Having that little bit of clear on that free edge, I think, is going to be beautiful. All right, just going to kind of tuck these in a little bit. I think we're looking good, but here's the thing, you guys, if you take a look from the side, we don't have any real structure to that nail, Okay, that nail is flat. It's kind of lumpy bumpy actually with our different layers of color in there. So now what we want to do is we actually want to build up structure. So let me close up my colors here really quick. And then we are going to grab our clear. And somebody's saying it looks like Elsa's dress. Yes, you guys, if this is looking like Frozen to you, absolutely. I love that. And you guys, use that as inspiration. Use movies, use TV shows, use costumes, you know, use clothing as all of your inspiration. Use that to do your nails. Use that as your theme. All right, let me readjust here. And we're gonna grab our speed clear again. And now I'm going to come in, I'm going to pick up that pretty large pearl. So let me come back out just a little bit. We're going to try to cap about half of this nail and build some more structure to it. So I'm going to come in, press, 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 press. I'm going to wait just a couple of seconds for that product to kind of soften a little bit. And then I'm going to set that right at my cuticle area. Now I'm going to angle the finger downward and I'm going to press out that cuticle so that I get that product really nice and thin and tapered all the way around that cuticle. I'm not pushing product to the cuticle, I'm just pressing to keep it nice and thin. Once that product stops flowing, I'm going to lift up on that free edge and just blend out that edge of my product. When I get to those sides, from here, I'm keeping my brush flat and kind of blending that out. When I get to the side, I actually turn and kind of pivot my brush to blend out those edges. By pivoting and turning that brush on the side, that's how you're going to get a nice tapered edge. Okay, you're going to get your product nice and flush right down to that natural nail. Okay, all right. Again, if we take a look from the side view, we got a little bit of extra bulk up here. I'm going to kind of press that down. I don't think we need quite so much bulk up there. Press that down just a little bit, but we do have nice thin and taper at our cuticle area. I have a little bit of thickness right through here. That's our stress area. We want that little bit of extra thickness so that we have structure and durability to our nail. But now we're just going to fill in with a little bit more clear right through here to really create that proper structure. Okay, on this one, I'm going to take, now notice on my cuticle area, I didn't drain out that liquid. I wanted that product to kind of flow. On our free edge, we brought it to more of a clay-like consistency. For this bead, I'm going to go kind of right in the middle. So I'm going to take a pearl. Let me show you this here. I'm going to pick up my pearl, not a super huge one, but I'm going to just tap out some extra liquid. This way, it's not going to flow completely, but ooh, there's a little extra glitter in there, but it is going to still kind of stay a little bit on the wet side. So this way I can set that down, and now I can really manipulate that and move that down towards the end of my nail. Just kind of bringing that down all the way to the end. Now, because I had to stop and pick out that extra glitter, my product didn't flow quite as I had wanted it to. So I'm just going to grab one more little pearl and we'll set that right down. Again, drain out a little of that liquid, but I'm going to set that right down at that free edge and blend that back, covering that whole entire free edge. Okay, and you guys, it's okay if you need to add that little bit of an extra pearl at the end just to kind of blend that. Not a problem at all. But as I'm blending, do you see how I blend backwards sometimes and then sometimes I blend forwards? The reason that I blend backwards is to bring product back up into my arch and thin and taper out that free edge so my free edge stays nice and thin. If I need more product down at my free edge, that's where I'll blend forward. So it's going to pull my product down the length of the nail. So wherever you need more product, that's the direction that you're going to be blending. Okay? All right, if we take a look at this, I think we're going to have pretty good structure here. You can see again from that side view, our cuticle area is nice and thin and tapered. We've got a little bit of thickness right through our stress area, right where we need it to support that nail, and it flows right down nice and thin down to that free edge. Okay. Angela's asking, can you add glitter on top? You can add glitter on top. Today we're not going to add glitter on top, but we are going to add a stamping design on top. So we're going to add just a little bit more to this. But you guys, we have a ton of different videos here on our YouTube channel that you can go and check out different ways of adding glitters, adding foils, adding all kinds of different things. So check out our channel here and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. All right, you guys, I want to know. Let me know in the chat. Have you subscribed to our channel yet? Let me know in the chat. I want to know. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to all of those people that have subscribed to our channel. But in the meantime, we're going to let our nail dry. We need to make sure that this nail is nice and set before we start doing any filing. So usually what I do in the meantime is, actually if I'm working on a real person, I've completed one hand and then I've done the second hand. So by the time I'm done with the second hand, that first hand is already set. But otherwise, if you're just doing maybe one nail or something or on your trainer hand waiting for it to dry, make sure to go through and clean out your brush. So I'm just going to kind of dab my brush into my liquid, make sure it's going to help kind of release any of that, any of the maybe glitter, maybe colors, maybe acrylic that's still stuck in there. And then I'm going to wipe out my brush. And you guys, as I'm wiping my brush, I want to make sure that, again, I'm using a nice clean area on my brush, or a clean area on my towel, and wipe that brush. You guys, here's one of the big mistakes I see people do is they don't actually wipe their brush, they do more of a dab with their brush. And what I mean by that, if I pick up a pearl here, a lot of times what people do is they'll dab their brush onto their towel, and that actually doesn't really clean out your product, okay? You have to make sure that you're wiping your brush on your table towel. That's how it's going to really pull any of that acrylic out of your brush and keep your brush from clogging, okay? So make sure when you're cleaning your brush, again, rinse that out in your monomer, wipe both sides. So I wipe one side and then I turn my brush over and I wipe the other side, okay? Because we do have that little crimp in there. We want to make sure that we're wiping out both sides of our brush to make sure that it's going to stay clean. Once you have your brush nice and clean, I do go back into my monomer one last time, give it just a gentle wipe on both sides, and then I roll that brush back to a point. So now your brush is going to be ready to go for your next application, okay? That's how you're really going to keep your brush clean and free from product, free from chunking up in there. So always make sure that you are cleaning out your brush after every use, okay? All right, let me set my things aside, and I always go through and close up my liquids, close up my powders to make sure that when I do my filing, I'm not going to get any dust in there or any contaminants. Again, cleaning out my brush. I'm going to set that off into my nice clean space over there and clean up my station a little bit. And let's take a look here. So now I'm starting to hear, I'm not sure if you guys can hear that on camera or not, but if I take my brush or my nail, you can kind of hear a little sharper click up here and a little bit more of a thud down at that free edge. What that's telling me is that sharper click, that product has started to set and that's almost ready to file. That thud is not quite there yet, okay? So it just has a little bit more time to set up a little bit. So in the meantime, I am gonna grab my dust collector. And you guys, our dust collector, I'm using our Bling dust collector. You can see I do have it plugged in and charging, and it's got the little battery indicator there. I am going to unplug this and use it as a cordless tool here today. So you don't need that, you don't need it plugged in all the time, okay? So once it's charged up, it's gonna be just fine. And actually, I'm seeing a question in the chat, where do you dump the dirty monomer? You guys, that is a great question. And actually, let me set my dust collector off to the side. When you are done using the monomer, I usually will save this until I'm actually done with that full set with that client. I'm done filing, because occasionally you may need to touch something up. Maybe if you file a little too much around the cuticle or something like that, you may need to do a little bit of touch up on there. So I always wait until my client is completely done and out the door, and then I will dispose of my monomer. But just to show you guys here today, the way that you do dispose of your monomer, please do not throw this down the drain. It is not supposed to go down to the into the drain or anything like that. Soak it up with your paper towels or with your table towels here. And I do kind of, again, clean off my Dappen dish all the way around. Tuck those towels down in there, and then I use my magic wand to kind of maneuver those towels around. And I know I showed you guys this before, but it's really a great thing to kind of talk about, because yes, you guys, we want to make sure that we're not putting chemicals down the drain. We want to make sure that we are disposing of them safely. If you do have any other chemicals, other things that may be older or expired and that you're not wanting to use, or even old electronics, you guys, your UV LED lights, like these over here, eventually those lights do wear out and you're not going to be able to use them anymore. So I always recommend looking in your area to find, they call it a household hazardous waste, either recycling or disposal. That's where you would want to take your old electronics, old lights, old dust collectors, things like that, old chemicals that you're not going to be using. That's where you would want to take those to dispose of them. Otherwise, I know this is a whole different topic of conversation, but it's important to talk about. But otherwise, you can contact your local trash hauler and see if they have other options for chemicals and household hazardous waste. So, off on a whole different topic, but definitely important to talk about. All right, I think our nail is set. I can hear that clicking all the way through. So we're going to turn on our dust collector, crank that up to 10. I'm going to take my E-file, I'm going to trade out my bit, and I'm going to put my X-cut carbide bit in. Now guys, let me come a little closer so you can see. So the carbide bit does have, it's got a pretty good grit to it. I always say it has teeth on it. And this is designed for shaving down product, okay? That bit that we were using earlier, the sanding band, like I said, that one's more like your regular hand files. If we try to use this bit to try to take down the bulk of our product, A, we're gonna be here forever because it's gonna take a while, but B, it's probably gonna have some heat to it, okay? So when we're trying to take down bulk of our product, I always like to use my carbide bits because those are gonna shave down that product nice and quick and easily. Now, keep in mind that carbide bit is not to be used on a natural nail. So you're not trying to use this over that natural nail to prep. You're only using it over artificial product, okay? I'm going to turn my speed on my E-file up to about 15,000 RPMs. And we're going to start by just cleaning up our sidewalls. Now I'm going to use my finger to balance on the opposite side. So on my left side, I'm just going to pull straight down, pulling down into that free edge, balancing on the side here. Now on my other side, I'm going to use my thumb to balance, and I'm going to push back. You always want to make sure that your bit is going, or that you're moving that bit in the opposite direction of the rotation of the bit. So you want to feel some resistance, okay? Not a lot, but you know, a little bit of resistance. So just straightening out those edges, okay? Now, remember when I said I don't spend a lot of time trying to use my brush to straighten out that free edge? This is why. I'm going to use my E-file to straighten out that free edge, and I'm going to hold that finger on the sides here, so this way it's not going to wobble back and forth. I've got nice stability. I'm going to start with my bit at the left side. Now you guys, I'm right-handed. I'm working with my E-file in forward. Here I'm going to start on my left side. I'm going to use a little bit of pressure, not much. I'm not trying to grind that down. I'm just going to use a little bit of pressure and pull across that free edge. This is how I'm going to straighten out that free edge and get that nice and easy without having to spend a lot of time trying to sculpt that straight, okay? Now, is it perfectly straight? No. Are we going to come back in with our hand file to perfect everything? Yes, okay? All right, so we've got our sides straightened out here. We've got our free edge straightened out. I'm going to turn that nail on the side. I'm going to look from the side view, and we're going to take down any product that's kind of hanging. And let me show you what I mean by hanging. So if I were to take, let me come back out just a little bit. If I were to take my orange wood stick, line that up from the cuticle all the way through that nail, down through my extension, I want that to be coming straight out again in line with that whole finger. So if I line my orange wood stick all the way back from knuckle to knuckle, anything that my orange wood stick is covering needs to get filed off. Now there's not a lot, but you can see there's just a little bit of product that's kind of hanging. So I'm going to start down here at my free edge and just push back and just taking a little bit of that product off. So now that lower arch is going to come straight out, straight in line with that finger, all the way from that cuticle, all the way through that extension, okay? Let's take a look on our other side. We're going to do the same thing. This one, instead of pushing back, we're going to pull down. So same thing, we're just trying to create that straight line all the way out from that natural nail. Okay, I think we're good. Just nice and quick and easy like that. Now, we're going to come through our cuticle area, and we're going to taper down our cuticle area so that it's nice and thin. If I come in really, really close here, let's see if I can get a good view. You guys can see it. There's a little bit of a ledge of product. Not much. It does kind of flow down there, but we're going to come through and just thin and taper that around our cuticle. Okay, now I want you guys really to see, and I like this view of it because you really can see, I'm not angling my bit up and trying to come around behind that. I'm going to bring my bit down a little bit lower so that I'm just beveling that out. I'm just tapering that product down so that it's going to go a little bit more flush down to that natural nail. I still have just a tiny little bit of a ledge back there. I'm not going to worry too much about that. I don't want to try to get too close with this bit because I could cause damage if I accidentally were to maybe nick that cuticle up here, okay? So we want to make sure that we're not going all the way back to that cuticle, but we are tapering that down, okay? Somebody's asking what RPMs are you using? Right now I've got my e-file on 15,000 RPMs, but I would say anywhere 13 to 16,000 RPMs is about what you're going to use for this process, okay? Let me readjust. There we go. So once we have that cuticle area nice and thin and tapered, we're going to keep this position. We're going to look from the side of our nail. We're going to look from that side view. We're not looking straight at our nail like this, okay? We actually want to look from that side view, and we're going to file from the center of the nail down to the side. And what this is going to do, this is going to show us our arch, and we're going to file in the proper arch. So remember back when I said I have a little bit of extra thickness right through here? That's what we're trying to take out. We're trying to take out that bulk. We're trying to make that nail flow nice and evenly. So thin and tapered from that cuticle up to a little thicker through that center and down kind of thin and tapered towards our free edge. So by looking from this side view is how you're going to be able to see how that product flows, okay? If we look at the nail from this way, we can't see what that arch looks like. And most of the time, if you look at your nail like this and you're filing from this view, you're going to end up filing it too flat. So if you're finding that you're filing your nails and they're looking flat, look from that side view, and that's how you want to be filing that arch. Okay. Now, again, I'm not trying to come all the way from one side to the other. I'm staying on the surface of the nail, right through that kind of top line, right through here, and down to the sides. So in order to get the bulk from my side over here, or more bulk from the side here, I'm going to look at that nail straight down the barrel like this. Let me adjust here. So I'm going to look straight down the nail. So now you can see right where I filed, right down that arch of the nail. Now I'm going to position my bit with the top part of my bit on that left side and just make contact and pull forward. Make contact and pull forward. So this way I can take down that bulk from the nail and get that to start being nice and thin and tapered. Same thing on the other side. I'm going to use the base of my bit, make contact and pull forward. Okay? Taking down that bulk from those sides. Now you guys, on camera, this nail does look fairly thick. Actually, there we go. Now you can see it's nice and thin and tapered on the free edge. And again, just coming through all the way through to contour. And as I'm pulling all the way through, notice that, again, I'm starting with the base of my bit on my right side. I'm coming up into more of the center part of my bit over the top, and then all the way down to the top part of my bit on that left side. This is how you're going to get that really nice rounded and contoured surface all the way through. Okay? All right, I'm going to check one more time from that side view. We got a really nice arch in there. My lower arch down here is coming nice and straight out there. Nice and thin here, a little thicker in the stress area, nice and thin and tapered down on the free edge. Okay? We are looking good. So I'm going to go to one more bit with my electric file. I'm going to go back to my sanding band. And I use the sanding band just to refine a little bit. So I'm not trying to take down any more bulk on this. I'm just using it to kind of refine. So I'm turning my speed back down to about 7,000 RPMs. And now that's where I can really get this last little bit of product to kind of blend in. Okay, so we're going to come right up around that cuticle area again, tapering in that last little bit of product down my side. Oops, sorry guys. Let me push back out a little bit here. Down my sides, and then again coming across that nail. This is really going to refine, really taper everything in. And then we are going to go back down from the barrel. And I know a lot of people ask, well, can't you just do this with the hand file? I mean, you're gonna file with the hand file eventually, but I'll tell you guys, this last little bit of customizing with the e-file really helps so that I don't have as much work to do with my hand file. So that's why I do like to go through with this bit one last time and just really customize that and really taper that in. The more that I can use my e-file for and the less I use my hand file for, it's going to be much easier on my body. And you guys, if you're a nail tech or somebody who is wanting to do nails for a long time, hand filing is a lot harder on your body, on your hands, your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders. It's harder on your whole body. So if you're able to use that electric file a little bit more, your hands and your wrists and all of that are going to be a lot better feeling, okay? So I'm going to just start just like we did with the e-file. I'm going to start by straightening out my sidewalls here. Again, I'm using my fingers to balance. So balancing with my thumb on the left side here, balancing with my ring finger on the right, making sure everything comes nice and straight out. I'm going to straighten out my free edge just a little bit here, but I'm not going to worry too much if it's not 100% perfect because we are going to do one final check on the nail from a different view. Okay, we're going to turn that nail on the side here, again straightening out our lower arches. Now notice I position my file here at that free edge. I don't put my file all the way back into that corner. Okay, the reason for that is a lot of times if you start with your file back in the corner, do you see that angle that I'm going at? It's not straight in line with the finger. By putting that file in line with the finger, that's bringing it right to the tip of the nail. Okay, so I'm going to take right through that free edge, just do a little filing, keeping my file straight until that free edge comes perfectly straight out from that side. Okay, so we're nice and straight on that side. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Again, turn that finger over, pressure on that free edge, keeping that file straight in line with the finger. Bringing that up. There you go. There's a better view. So you can start to see that that file is just coming straight out from that natural nail. All right, nice and straight. We're going to go through and just contour all the way around our cuticle area, making sure everything is nice and flush down in there. So now you guys can see we really have that product all the way flush down to that natural nail. We don't have that ledge there anymore, okay? That's exactly what you want right at your cuticle area, okay? All right, let's come back out here. Again, just kind of rounding out my sides here, contouring those in, making sure everything is nice and smooth. Same thing around that right side, contouring all the way in. Let me come back out so you can kind of see my hand positioning. I'm coming up and around, rounding out those edges. And then I'm going to turn this kind of from the side view. I'm going to put pressure with my file right down here at the free edge, and I'm going to file in kind of an upward motion. Now if I turn this on the side, you can see that my file, this is always a hard visual for you guys to see because it's a weird angle, but my file is at this angle. I'm not filing flat on that arch anymore. I'm just filing through that free edge to kind of taper in that free edge so that the free edge is nice and thin, but we still have our thickness right through that stress area. So again, just tapering that free edge. All right, we're going to do one more check of our nail. We're going to turn that client's hand around, and you guys, all that I'm doing is going from this position to this position with the client, okay? That's all I'm doing. This isn't anything that's uncomfortable for your client. I know it looks weird with the trainer hand, but it's going to be just fine for your client, okay? So from here, we are going to make sure that our sides are nice and straight. We're going to make sure our free edge is nice and straight. And then we're going to look backwards down the barrel of the nail and make sure that that whole entire surface is nice and straight and that there's no high spots or low spots. Now you guys, as I'm filing the free edge, I want you to notice the angle that I'm coming in. Okay, I have my file at just a slight upward angle. I'm not filing flat on here. A lot of times if you're filing flat or if you're angling your file like this and you're filing that free edge here to square it off, what happens is you end up filing a little U shape in there. So you want to be having that file at just a slight upward angle to make sure that that free edge is nice and straight. Okay? All right, I'm going to look backwards down the barrel of the nail. Again, customizing, tapering all the way through, flowing my file all the way through to really make sure that there are no high spots or low spots. Okay. All right, I think we're looking good. Before we go on to our next step, you guys, make sure you've subscribed to our channel. Make sure to hit that little red subscribe button. It just helps us so that we can continue to bring you guys all of this free nail education and help you guys out in your career or in your hobby. And it just makes us happy that you join our community. All right, you guys, I think our nail is filed out. We are ready to go. And we're going to add one more little detail to this. Ooh, Molly Cole, new sub. Thank you so much. Thank you for subscribing. Love to see that. All right, we've got one more little addition to our nail. So we're going to do a stamped on design onto our nail just to add a little bit more to our icy look. So I'm just scrubbing this nail, dusting this all off, making sure all of that dust is cleaned off of there. I'm going to grab my swipe again. So that same product that we were using earlier to cleanse the nail, I'm going to pump a little bit of that onto my brush and just give that nail one more quick scrub. Now you guys, this is kind of our cheater way of seeing what our design is looking like. So by cleansing that, you can see what that nail is going to start to look like. It's looking beautiful already, but again, we're going to add one more little detail to give it more of a kind of an icy look. So we're going to grab our stamps. And let's see, somebody's asking, can you color inside the stamp? Yes, you can. We're not going to be doing that today, but you guys, we got a ton of different videos on stamping here on our channel, so definitely check those out, okay? We've got lots of other fun ideas for stamping here. But today I'm going to use, where did my stamp go? We've got a couple of different ones here. I'm going to use this one. And this one, I like this pattern right down here. It's going to give kind of that icy, kind of, I know we did a cracked ice design earlier last week, I think it was, but we're going to add this one in to kind of add a little bit more of that icy look to it. And we're going to grab our Young Nails polish in Heaven Help Me, that is our white. I've got my scraping card, and where did I lose my stamper? I've also got my cleaning tool here, and you guys, this is the best way to clean off your stamper. It's just a little sticky roller, and that is the best way to clean off your stamper. Don't try to use acetone or alcohol or anything like that. Just use that little sticky pad to clean off your stamper, and you're going to be good to go. Now here's the thing, when you are stamping, the trick to stamping is to working quickly. So I have to make sure that I've got everything ready to go before I'm actually going to stamp. So I have to make sure that my stamping plate, let me get a little better view for you guys here. I have to make sure that my stamping plate is nice and clean. So I'm going to grab a little bit of our, just onto the next polish remover, pump that up onto one of our lint-free wipes. Really make sure that that plate is nice and clean so that there's no extra product. You can see there was a little bit of something on there from the last time I used it. So even if you cleaned it off before you put it away, I always say clean it off one more time before you use it. That way you're not going to have any issues with it, okay? All right, so I've got my color. I'm going to shake that up really quick, make sure my color's mixed up. I'm going to open that up. I've got my stamper. I'm going to clean that off one more time here just to make sure. I've got my scraper card, and I actually like to take a couple more of those little wipes those table towels that I've cut, and just kind of set those off to the side here. That way, after I'm done scraping my card, I can wipe those off on the side, and it's just a quick, easy kind of a system here. So there we go, you can see a little better. So again, I swipe, wipe, stamp, and then stamp, okay? So that's really as fast as you need to work. But one thing that I forgot, don't want to forget this, I'm going to use my protein bond again. This is the same product that we used before we applied our product onto the nail. And I'm going to do one more coat of this on here just to give us really good adhesion for when we do our top coat. So this is really going to help to hold that top coat on, and it's also going to help adhere our stamping design really well. So one last coat of that. I think we're ready to go. Now here's the thing, you guys, I'm not going to put this design on the whole nail. I'm actually going to just set it right down into kind of this blue area, maybe a little bit, maybe right down through into that blue area. So, oops, there's a little something on there still. All right, you guys, let me get a nice clean spot on my little roller here. Where's my end of that? So all you do to change out your roller is just kind of peel off that edge and then peel away the dirty part. And then you can use that clean area to clean off. Okay, now we're better. So again, I'm just going to pick up a little bit to go right through our blue areas. So here we go. And like I say, you guys, it goes quick, so you have to be ready to go. You have to have all of your things ready to go. So that's why I'm just going to do one last quick check. All right, get our camera ready. Okay, so now you guys can see I'm going to take a good amount of that polish. I'm going to brush that on. Don't be skimpy with your polish. We're going to swipe, wipe, pick up. Now, I'm going to look through my stencil here, and I'm just going to kind of line that up and just kind of put that down a little bit, just right through that area that I wanted. I'm going to take another little area and kind of roll that down on there as well. Just kind of sticking that down. And you guys, what I did, I know it's kind of hard to see on the camera here, but what I did, if you kind of look from the side, I kind of angled my stamper, so I wasn't putting pressure with the whole stamper. I was just kind of putting pressure on certain areas. So certain areas of that design we're going to sit down onto the nail. So again, just kind of using certain areas just a little bit. And you guys, again, it's not going to stamp down onto my nail here at this point because the product on here is dry and my nail doesn't have that good surface to adhere to. But you can see that we've got that in just those certain areas. So it's going to look a little bit more kind of like that cracked ice. I'm going to see if maybe we can add just a little bit more, if it'll stick onto that protein bond. It just a little bit more did. Okay, so again, just kind of using little areas and setting that on there. Yeah, I think at this point our polish is dry on our stamper, so if we wanted to add any more, we would have to go back and re-pick up from our stencil here. I am going to kind of touch this up. I'm not sure I'm loving exactly how this is kind of flowing out, so I'm just going to grab, this is just an old art brush that I have, and I'm going to take a little bit of that onto the next polish remover. And let's see if you guys can see this. Just kind of pump that right up into that top cup up there. Just take a little bit of that onto my brush. And then I can just clean off if there's an area that maybe I don't like. I think that was coming down a little too far down on here. Okay, I think I like how that's looking. So you can just kind of touch it up and figure out what you like, and if you don't like it, you guys, the easy part of this is you can just clean it off with your polish remover, and then you can start again, okay? So it's a really quick and easy technique. And now, I think we're ready for top coat. So again, those of you that are new to our channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Those of you that have been with us for a while, you know what time it is. It is time for our top coat chant. And let's go ahead and start that in the chat. So if you're new to our channel, all you got to do is just type top coat into our chat and join in on the fun. And then we'll go ahead and do, whoops, not our matte top coat. What did I grab here? We'll go ahead and do our top coat, and I've got our ultimate finish top coat today. We'll go through and we will do a coat on that over the whole entire nail. And you'll see that beautiful design show through. So you guys, this is just a fun way to incorporate your stamping designs. You don't have to stamp on the whole nail. You can use pieces and parts of it. You can use sections of it, just adding a little bit more to your designs. I'm gonna cap all the way around my edges. Let's go ahead and get this into our light, and then I will show you the final look. And we are going to cure this. Let me see my timer set. We're going to cure this for a full 60 seconds. And normally you guys, you see me just cure it for 30 seconds and then I show you the final look so you don't have to wait. But we've got some things to clean up here. So when you're working with the stamping designs, all the cleanup is super, super easy. So we're going to just do that while our nail is curing. Again, I'm going to use that little sticky tab or that sticky roller to clean off my stamper. Always make sure that you put that plastic cap back on there so your stamper always stays nice and clean. And then to clean off the stamping plate, again, we're just going to use that onto the next polish remover. Grab either one of the lint-free wipes, or what I actually like to use is another one of those table towels that I've cut up. I just like the texture of these, and I feel like it doesn't grab too much with these. Sometimes I feel like the lint-free wipes can kind of get stuck on some of the designs. So just a little bit of that onto the next polish remover, cleaning that off, getting all of that cleaned off of there. And you can also clean off your swiping card. Same thing with a little bit of that polish remover. Now, one of our customers did she found out that yes, you can use the polish remover to clean these off, but you guys, if polish remover stays on these for a long time, it will kind of melt that card. So you guys make sure that you're not spilling your polish remover on your card. And I think Shawnee Starfire, I think that was you. So I wish you luck with that. But yes, you guys, make sure you do want to clean these off so that you get all of that polish off there. Get your polish off of your stamping plates and off of your stamper. But you guys, make sure you're not using that onto the next or any kind of polish remover, acetone, alcohol, anything on the stamper. It doesn't need it. Just use that lint roller or that little sticky roller, okay? All right, I think our nail is cured out. It is ready to go. And you guys, one thing that I always forget to show you because it's on a trainer hand, but it's really important to be using your cuticle oil, okay? And oops, there it is. I lost it for a second. When you're finished with your service, you always want to finish those nails by using cuticle oil. This is going to help to rehydrate. And you guys, I'm just going to put it on myself because look, I have a lot of dry skin here, but always make sure you're finishing your service with that cuticle oil to really help to hydrate and keep those cuticles nice and soft, but also to keep that product and the natural nail nice and flexible. Okay, this is so important, especially in these colder winter months, that you do make sure that you are keeping those nails hydrated, keeping that product flexible, and keeping your clients happy and their nails in good condition. So hopefully you guys, again, hopefully you subscribe to our channel, but hopefully you enjoyed our lesson today on our icy look and using that stamping for little bits and pieces. So you don't always have to stamp the whole entire surface of the nail. You can do little bits and pieces of your design. And hopefully that'll help you with some square nails. And thank you guys so much for joining. Let's see, today is Thursday. I believe we'll be back again next week. So make sure, set your notifications on your subscription. Otherwise, you can also text us at, moderators, maybe we can get this in the chat if you can. Text us at our texting community, 714-274-7323. And you can text us the word YN Live, all one word. And that way we'll get you onto our list of people to notify when we do go live. So make sure to text us, get in touch with us. If you have questions, make sure to contact us, contact our customer service, text us, and we're happy to help with anything you need help with. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will see you guys back next time. Thanks, everybody.